All right, good. All right, so yeah, as I was saying, folks, unplanned but technical issues aside, I'm chatting here with Camazotz on stream tonight. It's fun. I'm a big fan of yours, and I think we've
Oh,
briefly collaborated from time to time on other people's. I think you were on a charity stream that I was also on at one point, but we've never had the chance to chat. I didn't know you were a fan. I'm honored.
yeah, no, I've definitely popped in and out as well. I've lurked here and there in your streams. But yeah, no, it's always neat when you find out like other streamers are like lurking, like in the wings, even if you don't know that they're there.
Yeah, no, it's been a weird day for that. If I hadn't said it earlier, or if people missed it, make sure you go subscribe to Camazotz, please. Does some excellent work. Makes great content. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like any other minority in this platform. I just sit around and yell about white people.
Hey, listen. 50% of my praxis is making white people uncomfortable. If you've read anything about my Twitter, you'll see that that's like part of my whole deal. So,
Oh yeah,
listen.
no, definitely.
I'm not saying that we need to abolish white people. Unlike capitalism or the police, they can be reformed. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, first and foremost, obviously, right? Like it's we gotta change, we gotta get people to and shout out to Soft Boy Social Club out there, Breadbeard. I see there in chat.
wait, they're
Uh
here? Huh.
yeah.
Oh,
So
Soft Boy Social Club. What's
yeah,
up?
what up, Breadbeard? How you doing? Yeah, I mean, like talking with that homie a lot, just like a lot of the things where it's just like a lot of the things about like just like destroying your white identity, right? Like that's the bit that's like the first step to like in my to just understanding that you have to do the root work to figure out what was stolen from you by the homogenous blob that is whiteness that only exists to keep people divided and to uphold capitalism, right? Like that's like
Yeah.
one of the biggest pillars of capitalism within, especially within empire, um and yeah, so it's once again it's not about white people, it's about whiteness, and once you fucking realize that, it's like brushing your teeth after being hungover, like you just
No,
you're
no,
still
you
that
cannot. You can't
you're
do the
still
Cotton Eye Joe anymore. That is
yeah.
going to be verboten. That shit is banned. All right, it is fucking haram. All right, no more
Oh,
Cotton
Rob.
Eye Joe. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
I just
you're
had to
fine.
air
You're
out
fine.
my
I'm
personal
just
jihad.
laughing. I'm just laughing. Um, but yeah, I think we've like you said, like passing ships in the night, more or less, right? Like it's I think like I've come on like a stream or two when you were on EJ, like on a panel with EJ or something like that, and then like or like like a skeleton crew type thing, and then just kind of like be dipping off as you're coming. There's like just really awkward leanings up, but there have been definitely a lot of people that is like, hey, you should reach out to Car, like Black Anarchist, well, and I feel like like we probably have, I'm sure you talk a lot with like Deadman and Simba and Saber and
You
all
know,
the homies.
I'm bad about doing any kind of collaborations or features just because I'm shit at scheduling. I
Oh,
am. I'm so bad at it, and there's been people who've wanted to work with me, and it's taken me weeks to find a day to get it done. I mean, you're a parent as well, and
yep,
we
parent
work.
and got a full-time job, so
Yeah,
I definitely understand.
I work 40 hours a week after this. I'm a parent, and so yeah, I am familiar with Dead Man and a number of other people. I've had the fun and rare opportunity to work with EJ and you probably know Trekkie as well.
Oh yeah, yep.
And it's very rewarding, and I need to do it more often, and I need to do more live streams, and I need to get my ass in gear, and
You know, it's like
Do
it
more of my
like
scripted videos.
man, scripted videos are the worst, aren't they? I'm currently the one. So for me, it's about I'm like a passion person, right? Like
Yeah.
I have to like have that spark. I have to have that like that bug up my ass to be like, this is something that I really want to commit to, because it's just like I have things started, but then it's just kind of like I go to them and I'm like, oh, well, I should add this into it. I should add that into it. You know, whoa, whoa. But like now, the one thing that like I'm like all about right now is tightening up this script for on mixed race. It's called Mixed Race and White Supremacy. That's gonna be my next video. Um,
Hmm.
and just yeah, that's coming along. I just want to get a couple more opinions on from people, and yeah, like there's just because it's just like mixed is awkward for a
Yeah.
lot of people, you know,
It's
like
it's
it's
hard for
just
people to interact with, even to this day. You know, it's and Lord knows I'm not in the business of telling people who their romantic partner should be. I think though that we struggle to come to terms with things like power structures and things that might be like internalized when approaching things like
yeah,
interracial
I'm
relationships and such.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like one of the things here, I can pull it up because I was working on the script last night and I didn't close it out. Let's see. Boom. So I mean, obviously there's yeah, so like there's like a point in the script where like I talk about, I'm trying to find like the actual thing. Um um the concept of like damn it, I articulated it so well. I don't want to have to try to rethink about it.
Yeah,
The idea that, you know, so like for me, you know, being Mexican, um there's a lot that comes with it, right? Like
yeah, absolutely.
so for like so like and I touch on this too about like the pedantry of people being like, well, Mexican isn't a race, you know, and it's just like, okay, yeah, but unfortunately, please recognize that we live within empire where people don't know the difference between, you know, somebody from Ecuador or somebody from Mexico, right? Like we're all south of the
Yeah,
border, we're all illegals,
and
right? Like that's
it may not be academically a race, but it's most certainly an ethnicity, because an ethnicity, you know, is pulled together more than just, you know, a taxonomic race. It's a culture, and
mhm.
Mexican is absolutely a cultural identity, both here in the States as well as in Mexico. So like, you know, people get a bit dismissive when they talk about that, and it's as an ethnicity and as a culture, it's definitely been targeted a great deal here in the Americas, especially here in North America.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I found the paragraph or the section I was talking about. So this is a portion of the script. A mixed identity in a society of white supremacy is awkward, to say the least, and downright alienating. I'm still trying to figure it out because the all consuming cancerous mass that is whiteness makes it extremely difficult to explain to people within empire. If you believe that blood quantum or the one drop rule is a real thing and not a tool of domination, you might not understand that mixed people can have a conflict with how you view us. Hell, even people who are actively fighting against white supremacy often see mixed people as a weakness to their cause. Because the colonial history of rape, quote, breed out the savage. It's not our fault who our parents are, in what territory we were born, or how we are raised. There is a burden of responsibility on those of us who are separated from our cultural heritage to do the root work and learn about the struggles and history of our people. Learn what brought our parents here to the empire that had forced them to come here in the first place. So yeah, so that was a portion of it.
You know, I think that's something that a lot of people lose, and you put it very eloquently there, and I think you delivered it in a way that might get it through to somebody, like, hey, you know, people on the left, let's recognize that people who are of mixed racial backgrounds can be allies and can be very in tune with the struggles, but you know, when you're addressing right wingers, you know, point out that, like, hey, this is still a problem. You're still punching down at a marginalized group of people. No, I like how you put it there. The problem in North America is people say the schools are failing us. No, the education system has been failing us for about 300 or 400 years,
Oh,
and that's the
absolutely.
sad truth. So
I
sometimes
mean,
people can't even grasp how much white supremacy was baked into the founding of this country, and not just the European settlers here in the area where I am, the British and French settlers and the German settlers that were here in this area, but the Spaniards that settled throughout Mexico and things like that.
mm.
Colonialism
Oh,
has its footprints across the fucking continent.
oh yeah, yep. I addressed that all in here too, because I mean, because for me, like, and I state earlier on like one of the first things that I talk about is how first and foremost, this is my personal perspective, right? I cannot speak on the behalf of other people's lived experience. I am not the arbiter of all mixed people, right? Because different cultures handle that shit in different ways. You know what I mean? Like the way that, mixed identity happens within the Black culture, the way that mixed identity happens in Asian culture, so on and so forth. It's all fucking different, and
Absolutely.
it also depends on fucking, and a lot of that also comes down to, regional areas too, right? Because then it's like, like how white presenting are you, and not only how white presenting are you, but like what level of affluence is your family, you know what I mean? Like that also takes part into it. There's so many different levels that
Don't
happen.
forget religion plays a huge
Oh,
part in it. Like Christianization of a lot of
absolutely.
colonized people is what took place throughout, what's currently Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador. Missionaries. I've always considered missionaries to be 2.0 colonialism, or colonialism second edition, if you will, or the second wave of colonialism, because to enforce those Eurocentric values, they also have to go and erase people's spiritual past and replace it with Eurocentric Christianity. And you were probably raised around a lot of Christian people, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've spent the majority. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm mixed. I spent the majority of the time with my mother, who is of Irish and Finnish descent. So, and that's like, and I say that instead of saying white because, and I've encouraged my mother to identify as that, in order to, because in order to break down, chop at that tree that is white supremacy, to try to destroy that pillar. Stop identifying as white. Stop using that fucking term. Separate yourself, Um, and so, yeah, so that's one of the things so my mother is of Finnish and Irish descent. My dad separated from us when I was at a young age. And yeah. And so it's there. My experience is very unique to other people, other mixed people too. And the other thing is, why I really want to do this fucking video is because mixed individuals are gonna be more common, right?
No,
Like
they're
they're
going to be more common with every passing day in this country.
yeah, like, so, and whether people are comfortable with it or not, like it's something that has to be talked about, like there are going to be, and like trying to like do research to get like different perspectives on this thing. There isn't a whole lot of like straight up like relevant literature from the perspective that like I'm looking for. There isn't like a whole lot. Uh uh there's not a whole lot of like somebody talking about this, like like what does it mean to be mixed race under empire, and then also from like a perspective of what brought their family here and stuff like that.
So
So
what would you like to see added to the discourse, coming from your unique background, that you think would be helpful? And let's say, coming from other leftists of color, other BIPOC leftists, and
yeah,
even other white leftists or other European leftists. What would you like to see added to the discourse?
I mean, like in regards to like this particular thing, I want everyone to understand first and foremost that like this, like a mixed identity is something that is going to be is like one more thing that is going it's one more thing that divides people, when in actuality it should be bringing people together, right? Like the unity of two different, cultures, heritages, races, however you want to put it, should be like that's a beautiful thing. That should be a beautiful thing, right? Unfortunately, in some places it's used to continually divide people, right? Once again, like talking about like the white passing thing, right? So it's like, how much white privilege do you benefit from? And then also people like not understanding that. And then when people are because like I've personally been excluded out of things when like within, because like I'm a member of the IWW, right?
Ah, yes. Industrial
And
workers unite.
yes, yeah, exactly. um no bosses, no cops. We but I remember like one of the initial things when I was first a member, um there was like there was an issue with not enough BIPOC representation within the chapter, so or within the branch. And so like one of the things was is they're like like who wants to lead it, blah blah blah, and I like raised my hand, and one of my New African homies that was there was just like, who didn't really know me at the time, had said like, well, hey, I don't really think that we need like a white person here. And I was like, I'm Mexican. And they're like, well, white passing then. And that was the first time that like I had encountered that in my life, like where somebody had said it to my face,
Right.
And so, and it was like, okay, and then like talking with them afterwards, it's like, okay, like, hey, can you explain this to me a little more? Like, I understand that, I understand that, I come from, how I sound, who I'm around. I get it. Like, I'm not gonna say that there isn't like some monicum of fucking, white passing privilege that has been given to me for, where I live. But at the same time, that's not to say that I also haven't, been discriminated against. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been taken out of cars, unjustly, just as soon as the cop fucking reads my last name. You know what I mean? Like there's uh uh there's and so whatever. So the conversation pretty much went like, like, yeah, like not to shit on you or nothing, but you know, it's just something that like people might not be comfortable with if you are going up to them, talking to them, and you look the way you do.
Yeah. And it seems like that person probably could have found more helpful ways to engage with whatever discomfort they were feeling. And I worry. My concern would be, are they going to alienate other potential comrades in that situation? You mentioned earlier a great point. Everybody, depending on their ethnic or racial background, can experience these issues differently, and we have to be cognizant of that. Your experiences are going to be differ slightly from mine, and mine will differ slightly from someone of Asian descent, someone from China, or someone from Japan, or someone from Indonesia, and things like that. Race is a social construct. Sadly, it is one forced upon a lot of us. We don't have a choice. It was forced upon black people with the barrel of a gun. And right now, what we want to do, what I would like to do is remove the oppressive powers behind that social construct, and then we can get about the process of abolishing race as a concept, and abolishing the everything acting as a sort of negative, or everything acting as a sort of comparison to whiteness, which is what you see a lot of right now. That's what Franz Fanon wrote about in heavy extent.
I really need to read more of him. I feel like there's like a huge gap in my knowledge by not by only reading like quotes or snippets, like little things here and there. Like yeah, I think that's something that I really need to get on. I think now that I think about it, I should probably make a note of it, because right after I
It's very
finish.
rewarding. Wretched of the Earth, it makes for great reading. And I would also say, maybe you can at least tell me this. Are you, because I lived on the West Coast quite a bit. Are you on the West Coast?
No, I'm in the Midwest.
Ah, okay. So am I. Regulars here know I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. So it's
Okay.
a fun
All right.
place
Yeah.
to be.
I've been all over. I've been all over the Midwest, Indiana, Wisconsin, Illinois, lived for 10 years in Chicago, all over the place. So,
It's all
but it's all,
just briefly addressing chat. Thank you, Philosophy of Time Travel. Looks like I've gotten some of your fans, and your fans are wonderful. Hi, Ink and Teeth. Thanks for joining us. Impromptu chat with Camazotz, someone who I'm actually overjoyed to have the chance to talk to here on this very poorly organized stream of mine.
It's fine. It's fine. This is how anarchists work. This is how anarchists truly work.
Do you think we schedule shit?
Like, listen, the meetings just get in the way. Okay, like.
we don't schedule shit. You will perplex us with your calendars and planners and Zoom meetings.
I got one homie. He's fucking amazing. And when we were looking, he's part of the space committee with me. And every time we would like schedule to meet like at a location to like check out like a building, right? Check out like a spot, right? He would always be the first one there. He was always like 10, 15 minutes early. And then like I would be like right on time of it. And then like 2 or 3 of the other committee members would like trickle in.
Varying degrees of late.
Yeah, varying degrees of late. Yeah. And and like he would just kind of like, he wouldn't be upset, but he's like, I gotta be the most punctual fucking anarchist in this fucking city. And I was just like, yeah, no, you are.
Yeah, no, a big meetup that I went to last year, you know, I think I was told like 11 a.m. we were gonna go march. We showed up at 11 a.m. and it was probably 2 hours before we got moving. There were people before the crowd got to a respectable size. It was probably a solid 2 hours before even the MC of the event actually took the stage. And I'm just like, Jesus, criminy.
Yeah. Also, first and foremost, shout out to the homie Wolfgang. That's Ink and Teeth in chat. He's a good comrade. He's been around in my community since I like first started all this nonsense. And syndicate. Yeah, the IWW. All we do is like sit through meetings and go through shit. That was the meeting joke. While like we might not be nitpicking how the revolution is going to happen, we got to make sure that it's at least. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks Wolfgang for correcting me. I know. Thank you for correcting me. The revolution might not happen on time, but that's only because it has to be agreed upon by at least a 2/3 majority, and the stack has to and everyone who's on stack has to at least have their say. Yeah,
I'm not even a syndicalist, so I guess I'm an anarcho blackist in that I'm an anarchist and I'm black. And
have you read Anarcho Black or Anarcho Blackness, I think is what it is.
I probably haven't. I'm way behind on theory. I was just telling Stream earlier that I'm not fucking reading Capital unless I'm paid to record
don't
it as
fucking
an audiobook.
No. Yeah, Anarcho Blackness. Yeah, no, we read Anarcho Blackness on my screen. On my stream. It's I think I have a PDF I can send you if you're interested.
Yeah, link it.
It's a pretty short read, but it's like it's short. Okay, it's a very small. It's only like 96 pages. Okay, and
I might find the focus to actually do that then.
And it's only 96 pages. The thing is it's very dense. Like I should probably read this like another 2 or 3 times. Like I've read it twice so far, but there is still a whole lot to get through it. Like,
Well, at the risk of overcommitting myself, if with some of that great anarcho syndicalist planning, if you want, and I can offer my dulcet tones to a live reading of it, with enough time to get through the subject matter in its entirety, I'd be happy to join in.
Oh hell yeah, we can definitely do like a reading. We can definitely do like a small like reading stream together. I've been yeah, I'd love to read this. I feel like this is like really good for just kind of like deconstructing anarchy, like, because in all honesty, this is the concepts that Marquis Bay talks about in Anarcho Blackness. I feel like ties really well within like also like if you wrap it up alongside like Zapatismo.
Yeah.
And it's I just feel like because like, so basically Anarcho Blackness it takes like some like obviously like the most basic points of like classical anarchism. However, it brings it it pushes it through the lens of like black feminism and transgender theory, as well as like, you know, but and then also like the concept of like what it is
Anarcho
to
Blackness.
be, yeah,
Birchalac. Birchalac. Send me find that and send me a Discord link, please, so I don't forget. I'm bad at reading chat, so Birchalac, help me find that. Yeah, I will definitely look into that, because I think there definitely, abso-fucking-lutely needs to be a more black female voices on the feminism discussions that are taking place. It's definitely hurting us. That it's a Eurocentric conversation. Yes, Vive Zapatistas, absolutely.
Yeah.
I got to get some of their coffee. I am a coffee snob, so I do love coffee.
I want to get, yeah, I haven't been able to get any of their there's 3 things that I want off of you can oh shit, shout out to Alki Historiker in chat too.
Hey, oh, Alki, I am read on Kumboa Irvin. That's usually what I recommend for Black Anarchy if people ask me for text. So yeah, no, Kumboa Irvin, very based. It's usually what I recommend to people. Philosophy of Time Travel. I didn't have a chance to address you. We were shitting on Brit Bongers earlier. I'm being nice now. But yeah, I'm glad that we have some Brits in chat. Welcome to the party.
We'll have to, yeah, if you have a list of like Black anarchist authors, I would love to read more.
There's a page that has actually cataloged them very nicely. If you give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. Drop it throw it in the Twitch chat,
in chat here.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna throw it at Birchalac on the Discord and have them parse it for me.
Yeah, that would be dope. Yeah. So yeah, what kind of get going back to your original question about like what I would want to see achieved or whatever. Like with, I mean, I want people, especially those who are engaging with online content, as a way to kind of release the pressure of feeling inadequate to fight within the struggle, right? Yeah. I want them to understand that there's more that they can do than just absorb content. I want them to also understand that part of that process is knowing that the left is inclusive, but people should respect private spaces. Not like, you know, like there is like, for example, like Deadman and like Deadman, Jet Cloud, Young Simba, Saber, Jupiter. There's like a whole like black content creators, like leftist content creators, like thing. Like they got their own whole like thing, right?
Yeah.
And that is a space that needs to be respected, right? Like I have never once asked to be brought into there. Like I have never once, you know, like whatever. Because yeah, like it just inherently I knew that wasn't I didn't need to be in it, right? Like,
Right.
but I know there's a lot more people that don't understand that, right? That would see something like that and then just kind of be like, but I want to, it's just like, no, you don't need to be in there. You don't need to take up space. You don't need to take up energy in those conversations.
Yeah, and
So
it's sometimes we don't necessarily need people taking up all that oxygen that maybe aren't sharing that lived experience. Now, and I like to think I'm pretty approachable for everyone, but yeah, it makes sense. I don't I do cultivate some online spaces that I feel are best beneficial to Black creatives and conscious Black activists, but and to be able to respect that and understand that is something many people on this platform don't quite get, which is sad. Like, and I have that same apprehension to invade on those spaces. Like, are you familiar with universal discourse, for instance? Native conversations. It is most nobody has a solid level of understanding of the plight of the Native people here in the Americas and what they're currently fighting for. It's people are just very disconnected from it. And
absolutely,
that's the fault of education. That's the fault of the systemic structures. But if you have somebody who is taking the initiative to be outspoken on those Native issues and be educated and to organize on that, that is absolutely the voice we need to defer to on that. They don't need me in there hogging all the oxygen in that conversation, no more than other outsiders to the Black experience in the Americas should either. Yeah, take care, Dan Air, and don't know why Birchalac keeps getting auto-modded. Hold on a second. Let me do a thing.
Is fellow work is the word fellow like banned? It like
I have no idea.
That's weird.
I don't know how Twitch commands work. I tried to give you moderator, Birchalac. I don't know how to do it though. I think it works.
But yeah, it's like that's just like there and if for me, okay. One of the biggest frustrations for me, especially like in this moment, and another reason why I kind of want to like make sure that this video that I'm putting out or the script that I'm working on is as tight as it can be, is because I want white content creators to engage with this video. I want to see it played on Twitch. And I want the concepts that are in it, especially once I start really getting into like the concept of white supremacy and how it spreads and how it obstructs like a racial unity or quote unquote racial unity. Right. Cause like I said before, like race mixing, quote unquote, I hate that fucking term, but you know what I'm saying? Like people fucking should be a beautiful thing. All right.
Yes.
You can clip that. All right. People fucking should be a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
And but because of but there's so many people, but because of the system that we live under, whiteness seeks to, it's like the devil on the shoulder, right? Like it just like, it's like, oh, you're not being completely accepted within, by your friends or by the people around you in your neighborhood or like come over here and we'll you can sing and dance for us and we'll take care of you, like that sort of thing. So I want people to engage with this content and I want it to be as tight as possible because I know that they're going to be fucking dipshit people like Vosh who are going to open their silly fucking mouths about shit that they don't fucking understand. And I'm not sure how you feel about, I'm not sure how you feel about him or whatever, but
what I like to say is I don't name names generally.
Okay.
I am a master of vague posting. Probably not a good trait to have, but
It's fine.
here's what I will say. I will say
The,
that
the opinions of the guest do not represent necessarily the
no,
opinions of the host.
no. What I'll say is in regards to a certain breed of online Caucasian leaning content creators. Yeah, he was in chat earlier, actually.
First world white leftists. That's what I say.
Yes.
That's
Some people, well, I learned early on that a mistake I didn't want to make making content, having watched a lot of these people, is that, you can just learn the merits of staying in your fucking lane. I stay in my lane, and I think that's a lesson that could be learned by a number of notable leftist content creators. So, anyone's watching, your lane is sometimes a good place to stay and take a seat.
okay. Let me, since there might be some crossover between his community, your community, what have you.
Oh,
right?
There's definitely crossover.
So if there's crossover, right? I first and foremost, let me fucking bend your ear for a second. All right.
Sure.
It's not necessarily that I think him to be an absolute fucking core to the bone racist, right? Like, there are some homies of mine that do believe that. Okay. I am 100% not not certain that is the case. Okay. However, I feel like, as we have stated before, right, like that concept of whiteness and having to chip away at white identity in order for us to truly succeed at toppling capitalism, is something that needs to be challenged by white people themselves, and getting in touch with what white identity has taken from them. Okay. So, for example, people in so for example, Italian people, Italians, the Irish, these are these are groups of people that, white supremacists or, or like white people within empire typically throw out, right? Like, you hear the common thing of, saying that, oh, Irish were slaves too, right?
Yeah.
When there's a massive difference between indentured servitude that you can work and pay your way out of, and chattel slavery.
Yeah, no, I've said it till I was blue in the face. It's an argument I have pretty regularly on hell sites like Facebook.
So it's just like, so what I want to say then, is, while I don't recognize a white identity, I still recognize that the Irish are a colonized people, because they are. Right. I recognize that the Welsh and the Scottish are also a colonized people. Okay.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with their melanin content. It has nothing to do with how dark they get in the sun. You know what I'm saying? So all I ask from my fair-skinned homies is, to take a look at do the root work on yourself and figure out what it means to be, who you are in this place and time. What is your heritage? Like, what brought you your family here in the first place, right? Now, there are people, and not only with fair-skinned people, right? And fair-skinned is what I would typically, because, like, saying, like, that's for me, that's the term that is better used for, like, instead of saying white people, right? We can say fair-skinned people. So fair-skinned, so for fair-skinned people, as well as there are other people where they say, like, well, I've never been to my country, right? I've never been to Africa. right?
Right.
I've never been to Ecuador. I'm not going to identify as an African, right? I'm
Right.
not going to identify as, same thing. Like I'm not German. I've never been to Germany. I don't speak fucking German. I'm an American, right? I was born here. This is the thing that I want, right? So what's the root work that needs to be done if you are going to cultivate an identity within the United States? The root work that has to be done is you need to understand how the empire formed and what is being done by the empire you live under now in order to become a world like power, like how it's structured, like what it has done in order to maintain its imperial control across the entire fucking planet, right? And and then in that aspect, wanting to do better for the people that exist within your country.
Yeah.
Wanting your nation, wanting your people to not be massive exploiters and murderers and genocide and learning your history and not perpetuating this the United States identity of imperialism and genocide and war, right? Like do better and understand why it's important that you do better. Not necessarily because your ancestors are not your ancestors, but not necessarily because like you people like our fair skinned homies will say, like, I shouldn't say homies because most of the time when this argument comes up, they're not necessarily in my friend circle. But when fair skinned people say, like, I've never fucking owned slaves, like that fucking trope.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not what this is about. Okay. You need to acknowledge, right, that the United States wouldn't be in any capacity what it is if not for chattel slavery. The White House itself, all across this nation, the infrastructure of this nation was built on the backs of fucking slaves.
Yeah, absolutely. The White House was built by slaves. The Capitol was literally designed by a slave, right? People don't know that. So the force that made this country a superpower ultimately came from chattel slavery. It's what fueled their industrial revolution. And so it's what fueled them through wars. It's what fueled their economy. It's what grew them from a settlement to a colony to an empire ultimately. And yeah, this is even efforts to educate people in this are often fought. Even the most milquetoast centrist politically efforts like 1619 Project, for example, fairly tame works of education are lambasted and they fight against it tooth and nail. So, and that I think is something, if you extrapolate that out, when you look at people, even other content creators, there needs to be a level of understanding, like, this is the beast we're pushing up against. White supremacy is top to bottom in all of our institutions. And you have to understand that foe when you engage with Black people inhabiting this space, Mexican Americans inhabiting this space, so forth and so on, Indigenous people operating in this space. There's no comparison to what they're experiencing.
And so it's just like, one of the Indigenous politicians stood up recently and she said, any discussion about climate change, Indigenous people, First Nations people need to be included in that conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because while they make up 5% of the world's population, right? They are responsible for maintaining 80% of the planet's ecological diversity. They are literally the reason why the rainforests in South America still exist. They are literally why, in Africa also, the rainforests still exist.
Yeah, no.
You understand what I'm saying?
Indigenous people are literally the ones carrying the flag to be the wardens for what's left of our environment that we haven't destroyed. They should not just be part of the conversation. They should be central to the conversation. We talked earlier on stream about water crises that are popping up throughout this country, and that is something that, you know, indigenous people have been fighting for years. They've been literally fighting over fucking water.
Yeah.
Since before I was born.
So believe me, and I'm sure you do when I say this, right? That when an indigenous comrade steps up to offer advice on how we should move forward, we should fucking listen to them.
Oh, you will find no disagreement
in the same way that I would listen to you or any other of my Black or new African homies, you know, in the same way that I would listen to anybody, any of my like fucking primos, right? Any of my cousins, right? Whether they be from like Mexico, Honduras, Colombia, you know, Nicaragua, Panama, wherever the fuck, whatever country they come from, south of the United States border, you know, or hell, even the Caribbean, right?
Yeah,
I would listen to them, right? Before I listen to a fair-skinned person who, you know, doesn't want to, or before I listen to a fair-skinned person that wants to step up and be heard above all those other people first. Right? Like, and to me, you know, that's one of the things, like when people ask me or message me like, hey, what can I do to be, you know, a better ally? Right. And I say, first of all, stop. Like, you don't want to be an ally. You want to be an accomplice. Okay. Sink the allyship, become an accomplice. All right. I need somebody who is not only going to stand shoulder to shoulder with me throughout the whole fucking thing, but I need somebody who is going to be there enough to like get arrested with me. You know, be put. I need an ally will ditch me the second that the cops show up to clear away us blocking the intersection, right?
No,
an accomplice
who are putting their skin in the game, just like you are.
Exactly, putting themselves in as much, you know, putting themselves in as much. I don't want to necessarily say danger, but putting themselves in as much, I guess, risk as I'm willing to put myself in.
They need to have that equal level of investment. It needs to be reciprocated, and I get that entirely. And so, and that's part of what we try to talk about. You know, when we talk about Black advocacy, you know, we have enough allies. We don't really need allies. We need accomplices. And honestly, we need. I talked about this. I don't know if you're familiar with Soup Poo, great Twitch streamer. She's a really great person, and you know, I said, hey, listen, you know, I'm not ever going to say to someone that you have to reject your privilege, because you can't reject privilege. That's not how it works. It's still there. What you can do, though, is weaponize it, right? You can weaponize that privilege for bad, and you can weaponize that privilege for good. And so you can be that buffer to the police, because it is demonstrated they are much less likely to split the head open of somebody who is not a person of color, as opposed to a person of color demonstrated. You can be that voice that's palatable to other white or Eurocentric peoples who are not going to come and listen to me, some rambling drunken hotep at 12:53 in the AM, right? You can be that person that they talk to, and use that privilege that you have, use that readiness that people have to listen to you to actually do something good. You can weaponize your privilege for good. A lot of people, I think, seem to forget this. Whatever privilege you have, you can use it for good as well as bad. And I think maybe that's something we could educate people better on, is how to use what privilege they do have in this society to advance the cause and actually be an accomplice, actually put some skin in the game, actually put an investment into the end goal. And
absolutely.
Virtual,
and you know,
can you link Soup Poop's Twitch? I don't have it here.
And one of the main way and one of the best ways to do that is if you are a fair who has been trusted to be allowed in a group of marginalized people, if you are trusted to exist within that space, like that is you should view that as an honor, right? And when you are in that space, understand that you are a guest and you shut the fuck up and you listen.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, especially when you're talking about minorities on these continents, both North, South America, and and including the Caribbean, once you exist within spaces of those things, the struggle for those people have been going on for centuries, for 5 fucking centuries, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about a level of oppression and subjugation that isn't like, I don't want to like turn this into like I don't want to like sound like a reductionist or anything like that, but it is definitely something that needs to be taken into account along with class consciousness, right? With
Absolutely.
the class battle. If you are talking about the working class, you need to also be taking into your arguments the history of those who are most exploited, right? If like when you hear decolonization,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Is it just a fucking slogan, or are you pairing it with a plan? Are you pairing it like are you saying decolonization insofar as you want to see dismantling of borders? Are you saying decolonization in the sense that you want to see whiteness, abolished? You want to see people, or same thing. Then when you talk about land back, right? What are you saying when you say land back, right? What are you hearing when you hear land back? Are you hearing that, oh no, the indigenous people want to kick all the Europeans out? Or are you hearing that, hey, these people want their identity recognized, within the territory that they've lived since time immemorial?
Yeah, to be that accomplice, you have to learn to push past that ingrained privilege that some people I don't think have gotten past is the issue. And so when you hear the perfect example, you hear land back, and if someone's having that knee-jerk response, their first thought is still, well, wait, what is this going to do to me or people like me? Not how is this going to empower a marginalized group that have been kicked down the fucking ladder for 400 years, So, yeah, no, I agree. And if someone's able to find a way to move past that privilege, recognize it, and say, okay, can I weaponize it? Can I move past that and actually be that accomplice and help people? That's what we want to see. That's what I would like to see. And it's okay. And there's different things that they can do to help. If somebody is fair skinned, but they have, say, a platform, that's one way they can be an accomplice, is to use their platform to amplify those voices, to take the step back and say, okay, I care about this subject, but they live this subject. It's time for them to speak. Hey, Mitt Nerd, welcome to the chat. Everybody, make sure to go subscribe to Mitt Nerd, please, and thank you. Excellent music, Twitch streaming, and a really, really based comrade. We had a great fun chat about Afrocentrism and its connection to music. Definitely check out Mitt Nerd.
Yeah, Mitt Nerd is the definitely does not get the true recognition on this platform as they should.
No, Mitt Nerd's an excellent multi-instrumental musician. Glorious.
I mean, it's like people recognize it, but it's just like he's like, I feel like not like streamers know of him, right? But like the people need to know. Like,
and the issue you run into also to begin with, people who are largely live, I've noticed, and I'm not talking about myself. I don't produce enough content to have a big enough following, but people who are live and people who produce live content are often underrepresented in subscriber and metadata stats, the it shows up more in the audience retention and less in the sheer numbers. And so we need to get the sheer numbers up for Mit Nerd and for our glorious friend here, Camazotz, as well, and increase that audience retention as well. I don't stream that often, so you all can't use the excuse that you're watching my stream instead of Camazotz or Mit Nerd, because I can barely get the focus together to do a stream once a month. So you can talk. Make sure you tune into Camazotz. Make sure you tune into Mit Nerd.
So
I have been going for a decent period of time, so I want to wrap it up, but I have to end it on a positive note. So you said you've been all over the Midwest. Okay. Tell me where you are with hot dogs. You said you did some time in Chicago.
Yeah. Oh no, run that shit through the garden. That's how I like my hot dogs. No ketchup, mustard. Run that shit through the garden. I want the relish. I want poppy seed hot dog bun. Fucking all beef dog. I want the relish. I want the hot peppers. I want tomatoes. I want it all on there.
Now, I've been to Chicago once. The dog I had, they actually threw in a whole spear. Is that
whole pickle spear? Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, because you need that sweet neon green relish, right? And then you need that
briny
that briny fucking I want it. And here's the thing, right? In my opinion, a hot dog, the only way the only way to like justify eating a hot dog is the messier it is to consume, right? So like chili dogs, Chicago style hot dogs,
New York dogs.
Like that sort of thing.
Do you vibe with New York?
Do I fuck with New York? I fucking hate New York. I'm sorry. If you're gonna hate me for something, hate me for that take. Hate me for the fucking my New York shade, because I can't stand it.
So don't like their dogs either, then, huh?
No, I'm not a fan. I'm a huge thing of I'm a huge person for I like my Chicago style pizza, and I like my Chicago style dogs.
So I can vibe with Chicago style pizza, because usually they don't skimp on the meat. I do love the Italian beef sandwiches up there as well, dipped in the fucking drippings. That's glorious.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'm an Ohioan, so we eat big and just absolutely gratuitously here. Shut up, Birchalac.
Hey now. It is okay. All right. I have a good friend, right, that went to that lived in Chicago for a very long time, but he's from New York, and Connecticut is from where his family like has been, right? His take on it was, trying to pick a favorite between, or comparing pizzas from New York to Chicago is like trying to ask someone to compare spaghetti to lasagna.
Yeah, they're two different things.
They're two different things. They're both pasta. They're both pasta, but at the same time, they offer different things.
Have you had a cheese coney? Have you been to Cincinnati?
I have not. Oh wait, no, I've been to Cincinnati. But I have not had. No, I have not. I've been to. I've had Cincy chili. I've been out to I've been to Columbus, Ohio. I've hit up that. Yeah, I've been through Ohio too.
Well, because we were talking dogs, I didn't know if you've had a cheese coney. You've had the chili. I assume you had a 3-way. So spaghetti noodles, chili with shredded cheese on top.
Yep.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I've had pasta in my chili before.
Okay.
It was nothing new. I was just like, this is
Visitors tend to love or hate it. It goes from one extreme to the other. We have many great food items that make this a great destination. You got to swing through Cincinnati sometime. We'll get you a proper coney. Shut up, Birchalac. I don't want to have your burger soup that you call chili, okay?
Burger soup. I fucking love it. Listen, I have not had Texas style. Well, no, I've had Texas style chili, but I have not had Texas style chili from Texas. It was made by a Texan.
Fucking burger and bean soup. They want to call that chili.
But yeah, this has been fun, homie.
Thank you.
I don't want to keep you much longer. And like, listen, I hope I don't bring any like bad bad vibes to your stream with my takes, because that is I don't need that
You
that thing.
absolutely won't. And even if some chuds showed up, listen, let me explain something to you that I hope everybody here gets. Gonna lean in real close. I don't make a living doing this. I have a job and a family and a home. I am not terminally online. I have real problems, so I don't have to care what anybody says about anything on the internet. Okay. I'm perfectly capable of ignoring what stupid people say. That's just the facts. So, if we've summoned the wrath of some toxic community, that doesn't faze me in the slightest. I banned one person while you were talking because they were coming in with some bigoted shit. There's been a weird rush of groypers just rushing all kinds of channels tonight. It's weird. I don't understand it. Are they bored?
Yeah, I have no idea. There is like a flex or an influx of chuds lately. It was in Tina 2 stream. They've been coming out of the woodwork. I think it has to do something with the Chauvin trial. Everyone fucking giving their 2 cents about the fucking pig getting put behind bars, type thing, and they feel they're all butthurt over it.
690,000 to go. One down.
Yeah, exactly.
So listen, everybody, we've been chatting with Camazotz here. Makes excellent content. Please follow them on Twitch and please subscribe to them on YouTube. Camazotz is an excellent content creator that gives a unique perspective, different from my own, on the experience of someone who is Mexican American, in descent.
That's all right. Yeah, come and hang out, all of y'all. You're all very welcome, and thanks for having me on, homie. Take it easy.
Take care. You have a great evening. We'll talk again soon.